Hi guys, my name is Mike with eDine, and today we're going to talk about online ordering, specifically for the restaurant industry. I get asked a lot by clients about online ordering, and I thought that I would put together a little something to go over it in detail. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is what it is. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about whether or not you should get it. And then I'm going to go over the details about the options, so the benefits and the drawbacks. Okay, so what is online ordering? Online ordering is basically the ability to place an order for something online. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can use your desktop or a laptop or your cell phone device or whatever device you can use to access the internet these days. In some cases, it's even your TV. Can do e-commerce, which is the technical term for online ordering. And we have all placed orders online at this point in our lives, whether it's paying a bill or placing an order on Walmart.com or Amazon.com. And typically what you have when you are with online ordering or e-commerce, you have this kind of grid layout, and you can go into an item. You can make some selections on some options. Like if I could get this in 45 inch, 55 inch, or 65 inch, place some options. You can read more about the product. You can kind of drill down into some technical details if it has them. Maybe watch a video, and at the end, there's probably reviews. Here you go. This is ideal for your typical online ordering layout for most industries. And for the restaurant industry, it's a little bit different because there's usually not this much detail needed. So let's try to imagine a scenario. Maybe it's an office manager and they're trying to place an order for some employees, or it's a secretary or something like that, and they need to place a relatively big order. And while they're trying to take this order, they have to deal with emails. People are sending them in at all different times. Some people have maybe some order changes. People are coming up to their desks. They're busy. They just want to place the order. Imagine having to call up and try to make this order, and then calling back and making changes. And it's just, this is one of the reasons why online ordering has become so big, is because, an office manager going on to a site is just easier. So when you look at it like that, and then you go back to like this. So let's pretend that Nordstrom's is really an online restaurant, and we are going to place a couple of meal orders. So you have, let's say that women is let's go drill down into women's wear. Let's say in women's wear, we have, just appetizers and entrees. And so for each person, you have to order an appetizer and an entree. So you go into one of the categories that you want. You go into the item. You pick your options. Maybe this is like bread type and meat temperature or something. You add it to your cart. You go back. And then you place your drink order or your dessert order or whatever. And you got to find that item that they placed. And so you could probably see so far that it is not ideal for placing a quick order for food. You don't need this much detail. A lot of people don't even have pictures, especially if you have a really big menu. It's difficult to have pictures. You can, but it's not necessary. Especially, 4 and 5 pictures and potentially a video and some long descriptions and some reviews. And you may want to have those things, and you can, and there are good ways to do it as well. But it doesn't make sense. Let's look at another example. Busy parent. So you're trying to take people's orders. You're probably trying to do this last minute. So you have kids yelling orders at you. Maybe there's a baby crying. You got kids playing in the background and the TV's on. And like, it's just so much easier to be able to place it online, but it would be really difficult still to probably do it with this type of layout. So what you would want to do is, so a list layout would work a lot better. And let's check out some sites that do it pretty good. So here is Polo Royale, and they actually have kind of a grid layout for their menu items. So you can select it, but they get a little pop-up here, not many options. You can make your selection, add it to the cart, and go back. And it brings you right back to where you were. So you can make your selections. It's not the greatest site. It's a little confusing. I think there's some requirements here. Soda. All right. And when you're ready, you can go to the cart and check out. And it's really seamless. It's a lot faster than the process that we just went through. And it makes a little bit of sense too. I mean, you have much less expensive options. People are usually in a rush when they're doing it, or even if they're not in a rush, it's just easier and a lot more convenient, especially when you get to mobile devices, which right now 60% of orders placed online are placed from some sort of mobile device, a cell phone or a tablet. So another option, let's take a look at Five Guys. So they have a pretty basic layout here. You can make some selections, choose some options, add stuff to the cart, and then you go right back to where you were. So good layout. Button wrapped in lettuce, it's a good idea. And you can do it as soon as possible or later. And then you can proceed to checkout. Very smooth, very, very fast. This is a pretty good option here for online ordering. And here is one more example. This is a local restaurant as well. And you can see they have a list layout. You can select the categories over here. You can quickly add something to the cart and you go right back to where you were. You can place different settings, add a note, and it's all pretty seamless. Then you can go to checkout and place your order. So one thing it's important to talk about really quick, and you might have been asking yourself this, so how does it work on your end? How do you get the orders? And there are some main options here. So some places get it by email, some get it through a printer that is either new or that it's set up through a printer that already works and it prints to their hostess station, or it prints directly to the kitchen. Some systems integrate right into your point of sale, so the order just comes right into your point of sale, and then once that order comes in, it does what it normally does to have the order fulfilled. And most places have some sort of combination. Maybe they have a printer set up at the hostess station, but then a manager gets an email as well, just to make sure that it's getting fulfilled or that they have a backup, etc. So it's really actually pretty easy. Getting the order is typically the easiest part of the process. So the next question is whether or not you need it. I mean, after all, are you particularly concerned about the busy parent or the office manager? From what I can tell, there are 4 main reasons you might want to, and I'll go over each one of them. The first is convenience. People are using technology to place orders more and more, and they really expect the convenience from it. It's been adopted at great expense by all major chains, including fast food. Now, I'm not recommending that you start copying fast food chains, but they are making a last-ditch effort to try and capture the convenience part of the industry. The next reason is technology. There are really good reasons to believe that technology will go more towards less human interactions. Let me explain from a different industry. Google is spending hundreds of millions of dollars on a new project called Google Duplex. It makes calls for you. Check this out.
We think AI can help with this problem. So let's go back to this example. Let's say you want to ask Google to make you a haircut appointment on Tuesday between 10 and noon. What happens is the Google Assistant makes the call seamlessly in the background for you. So what you're going to hear is the Google Assistant actually calling a real salon to schedule the appointment for you. Let's listen.
So how can I help you?
Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd.
Sure, give me 1 second. Sure, what time are you looking for around?
At 12 p.m.
We do not have a 12 p.m. available. The closest we have to that is a 1:15.
Do you have anything between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m.?
Depending on what service she would like. What service is she looking for?
Just a women's haircut for now.
Okay, we have a 10 o'clock.
10 a.m. is fine.
Okay, what's her first name?
The first name is Lisa.
Okay, perfect. So I will see Lisa at 10 o'clock on May 3rd.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Great. Have a great day. Bye.
So basically, Google knows that people are becoming less and less likely to pick up a phone to actually make a call. You can call it laziness, overworked, underworked, too little social interaction, whatever, but the trend remains strong that people are overwhelmingly opting to avoid interaction with each other, or at least with people they don't know. Basically, people will expect a hassle-free, convenient way to place orders. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, it's only going to go more towards automation and ease of use for the customer. The next is growth. It can help grow your business. The average increase in sales reported across the board from Grubhub to independents is 30%. That means if you add online ordering to your restaurant, you can expect increased sales in the first 3 months. And a lot do much better than that by optimizing their Google Maps listing, outreach to current customers to let them know they can order online, etc. This is Business Insider's article on it. This is from Upserve. This is from the National Restaurant Association. The next is that it can reduce labor costs. So you can increase productivity. It decreases errors. It reduces frustration for the employees and the customers. I mean, this one is easy. You remember the parent trying to place the order with the kids in the background? Now imagine if you have a busy hostess with a line of people, phones ringing, people talking or taking orders, and in a rush to get to the next person waiting in line, or just trying to type the order in. There are mistakes, errors, things left out. Then add the possibility of a language barrier, and there is a large room for error. Placing the order online is quiet. You are not rushed. There is no language barrier, and no one has to be on the other side of the order to take it. So if I've convinced you that you may need online ordering, let's take a look at some of the options. There are 4 main options for online ordering. The first is a third-party solution. So this would be like Grubhub or Seamless or something, where you put a link on your website and you send the customer off to Grubhub or Seamless or Eat24 or one of the other ones, and the customer then places their order and then you get sent the order. The other option is a point of sale with online ordering capabilities. So this is somewhat similar to the third-party solution, only the commission isn't like 15%. It's usually, there's one option where the first 25 orders for the month are free, and then it's 3% after that, which is a big difference and a lot cheaper still than the third-party solution. The next is you can have some web development done. And that can typically be so what that is you can just have somebody design a website with it built into it. And that might be, Magento or WooCommerce or DrupalCommerce or BigCommerce or one of the other options out there. There are many. And then the other is an as-a-service offering, which I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about, as that's a relatively new offering. There are websites as a service, but restaurant online ordering, e-commerce as a service is a little bit newer of a concept. So let's talk a little bit about the benefits and the drawbacks of the third-party solution. So some of the benefits are it's really easy to set it up. Usually it's you're just importing a CSV file. Some may even help onboard you. So you provide a CSV file to them, and then they get the items up onto the website for you. They have their own customers, so they do their own marketing and they have their own plan to draw customers to their website. So they have some, they will send you, especially some of the bigger ones, they will send you some customers because they do their own marketing and they drive people to their platform. They typically have apps for mobile devices and benefits, and even some have some loyalty like programs that they fund themselves. And they can also, so third-party solutions, really popular ones, will integrate with other popular systems most of the time. Some drawbacks are it's easy to start up, but the commissions are fairly high in an industry where 3 to 5% margins are pretty good, and you're giving away 15% of your orders. That can kind of pinch a business like that. If you're doing 75 orders a week at an average of $30 per order for online, and that's over $1,500 a month you're paying in commissions. That would be Grubhub. Grubhub is 15%. That can start to get a little bit expensive, and at that rate you might want to look towards one of the other options. Not to take over completely, because like I said, Grubhub, Seamless, some of these other ones, they have their own customers. They do their own marketing. So not necessarily, maybe you don't link your website to them. If you build a website out to have e-commerce on board, don't send the customers that land on your page to Grubhub. You keep your own customers. You don't have to pay the commission for that. But if they send you a customer, then it's a customer that you wouldn't have had otherwise, and you can decide whether or not you want to pay that commission. But it's really up to you. Another drawback is, so once the customer, so say someone does a search on Google Maps or something, finds your restaurant, clicks on the link to order online, goes to Grubhub, that customer is no longer your customer. If you want to market to that customer, you have to pay Grubhub even more money. You have to pay Seamless or E24 even more money. So if you want to market to those customers, you have to pay. And you're also, when you send that customer over there, you're also competing with, they just want the sale. They get the 15% no matter what. It's irrelevant to them. They're already, now that it's on Grubhub's site, it's irrelevant to them whether or not you're actually getting the sale. And I've seen, because anyone can submit a link for online ordering for restaurants, I've seen where restaurants that I have talked to and work with had, I said, online ordering on their site, on their Google listing, and they didn't have a listing on Google. And so when someone clicked on that, so someone found them on Google Maps, wanted to order from them, clicked on the online ordering item, got brought to Grubhub. This was Grubhub. And they didn't have a listing for that person. So it said, like, sorry, we don't have online ordering with this restaurant yet. Here are some similar options in your area. So be careful about that. When you're talking with Grubhub, one of the things that they might say to you is, oh, well, we can let you know how many people click through to order online. Like, just if you own the listing, you can put up the link, or a lot of times they have bots, and I'm not sure if they're allowed to do this or not, and maybe they don't do it anymore, but I know that in the past they've done this, where they create a page for the restaurant on Grubhub that says, we're not offering Grubhub yet, potentially so they could go to the restaurant later and be like, look how many people are looking for your restaurant, hitting our thing for your restaurant. But they're still making that sale. It's not like they're just pointing them into one of your competitors. It's also a different URL. So when you send, people are a little bit more used to it these days, but still, when you're on a site and you're like, okay, yeah, I want to order online, and then it takes you to a different site that usually looks different too, it's a jarring experience. It is not fluid. So that can be a potential problem as well. And then managing your items can be somewhat of an issue too. So, it's not, you have to log into, multiple places to create your items. And with some of the other options, it's the same as well. So if you have a web development company come in and there's not an integration into your point of sale, then you're going to have to, if you make a change to one of your items, you're going to have to either change it, go in and change it yourself if you know how to, or pay the web development company to do it for you. That's kind of where as a service comes in, and we'll get to that in a moment. But the next option is the point of sale with online ordering built into it. So one of the benefits is it's typically free. It's usually offered as a courtesy, or a very low commission, like the one, I think it's Total Loyalty Solutions, has your first 25 orders for the month are free, and then it's 3% after that. That's a relatively low cost to have something as complicated as e-commerce. The next benefit is it has to be integrated by default. I mean, why would they offer something that, be wary of a point of sale that offers online ordering, but they don't communicate with each other. It kind of defeats the purpose. And then there's no manual entry. So if it's synced with your point of sale, when you update your point of sale, it should automatically update your online ordering as well. So it should be a really simple and seamless option to use. Some of the drawbacks is the point of sales themselves are usually expensive. So I think, and I want to go back to Total Loyalty Solutions, and forgive me if this is incorrect information, but an average restaurant, with doing some research into this, with a couple of registers, and I believe they have tablets too, was about $19,000 setup. That's no small amount of money. So if you're going to go with them anyway, then it might be a good option. The other drawback is their point of sale is their main functionality. It's what they do. And the online ordering is because it's a fad, and being able to offer that is an extra selling point. One of the reasons that I do what I do is because one of my favorite restaurants that I get sushi at, I was placing my order online. They have one of the built-in ones through POS, and I want to say it's Beyond Menu or something like that. I was trying to place the order online, and I couldn't get it to work. And I'm pretty technically savvy, so I could not get it to work. So I called up, and it was a big order it was actually for a bachelor party. I called up and I was like, all right, I'm most of the way through my order. I can't get this to work. I'm not sure what to choose or something along those lines. And they were like, oh, no, don't order online. It doesn't work most of the time. It takes us longer to get the order. We'll get it out quicker if you just order from us over the phone. And I was just blown away by that. I was like, I already have like 30 things in my cart, so I had to go back, and at least I had the list right there to rehash to her. But that was a pretty jarring experience for me. I mean, that's it. Online ordering should certainly make your life easier. You shouldn't be trying to avoid it. And especially if it's if it's built into your POS, you don't have to. You're not. I'm pretty sure. I don't know about Beyond Menu, but I'm pretty sure you shouldn't be paying any commissions on something like that. So to try to sway away from placing that order on on their own online ordering system was just, it didn't make much sense to me. The other drawback is it's still a different URL too. So it's not something that's integrated. It's integrated with your point of sale, but it's not integrated with your website, which is pretty much the face of your company. It's what they're the potential customer is on. So they're still going to a different URL that's presumably going to look a lot different from your actual website. So the next option is you can have a web development company build you an e-commerce website. And some of the benefits of this is you have complete control. So you have complete continuity from between what your website looks like and what your e-commerce platform looks like. So it removes that experience of being on one site and being like, oh yeah, okay, I want to place an order, and then being taken to a completely different site. Am I going to get my order? Like, where did this just take me? Like, I've never heard of this Eat24 thing. What is it? That can be a little bit of, that's certainly a little bit better. You retain your own customers. So even with some of the POS systems, it's bringing you to their POS software. They're not necessarily your customers, and all of them are a little bit different. But if it's bringing you to another site, it is not your customer. You do not own the information for that customer. Your POS system or the third-party system owns that customer. So marketing, you can market to your own customers much, much easier. And if you pay for your own marketing to drive traffic to your website, you're using a third party or a point of sale system, then you're sending them away to you're paying for marketing and then paying a commission to the third party, or sending that customer data off to another system. It's also good for analytics. So say you're seeing that people are always ordering from your first 3 items on your menu, and you make a little bit more money off of something else on your menu. You can try lifting it up to try to make more sales of that item, and you don't have those analytics if you don't have your own website. So some of the drawbacks of e-commerce web development, though, and there are some, it's really expensive. So just a good website today will cost at least $5,000. In the restaurant industry, I see a lot of websites that they haven't kept up with standards. It's really difficult to keep a website today up. I mean, almost as soon as that website goes live, it is obsolete, because a website should never ever be done. You are always working on your website. It always needs to be updated. They're all content management systems today. And if it's not, some developer or designer tells you, oh no, we design our websites from scratch, run. That is going to be a massive problem that you're going to have to deal with from day one, having them come back to fix bugs and to or just being outdated. There is no designer or developer that can do everything that needs to be done for this type of thing in-house, at least cheaply. There are payment gateways, delivery and times and modifiers and product inventory management. And then for the website, you have design changes. Things go out of date. Something that was popular yesterday now makes your site look outdated today. Like, those things need to be kept up with on a regular basis. And if it was just yesterday that they're starting to go out of date, you can get away with keeping it around for a couple of months, but it's not. Having the design of your site be modern and fluid and move with mobile is really important. So it can get just super expensive, especially once you add e-commerce. E-commerce is it adds so much more complexity to a website that, managing it and keeping it up to date and making sure that it's PCI compliant, that those things are really important. And then, so like a lot of these things I just talked about. So the depreciation, like a website starts going bad the day it goes live. So that's just one of the nature of a website. E-commerce has expensive hosting as well. So you have to make sure that your server is robust enough. You have good caching set up. That can be $100 to $200 a month just for the hosting. Then I talked about it being kept up to date. A lot of that is manual, and either you have to do it or you have to hire your developer to keep it up to date or have them on some sort of retainer. And then, as far as I know, there are no web development companies that specialize in e-commerce for restaurants. There may be a few out there, but they're probably really expensive, and they mostly cater to large chains. If you are a large chain, you're probably not watching this video. So the last option is, like I said, a little bit newer of an option, and it addresses some of the drawbacks for web development. So it has all of the benefits of the web development option, as well as it's an as-a-service model. So what as-a-service is, so this is pretty much e-commerce as a service, specifically for restaurants. What as-a-service is instead of purchasing your website as a product, you're purchasing it as an ongoing service. So you're just paying a monthly fee for someone to keep it up to date and keep the design good and to help you with issues. A lot of industries are moving towards as a service. There are website as a service offerings right now where you just, instead of paying $5,000 for your website, you get a $5,000 website off the rip. They'll design it for you, and you pay a monthly fee, $150, $200 a month or something like that, and they will keep it up to date forever. So it includes your hosting, it includes everything. So that's what as a service means. You never have to worry about hiring a web developer again. Your website's always up to date, and with the e-commerce as a service for restaurants, you have e-commerce kept up to date as well with it because it's part of your website. So that's the as a service model. And some you might be familiar, Adobe Cloud, Microsoft Office is actually a better, Office 365 is a better example. You used to have to buy Microsoft Office, 2007 for $350, and when they updated it, you'd have to buy it again, or what you had would go slowly out of date. And that's usually what happened. So you'd buy Office 2007 in probably like 2008 or 2009, you would keep it for 5 years, and it would be 2 versions behind, and then all of your employees or staff or just you would have to make 2 jumps to the newest one when you bought the package all over again. So the solution to this was, okay, let's just offer an ongoing version that'll always update with the newest product, and that they can get, and since they're paying monthly, they'll be fully supported. It won't just be support for a year, and we'll just charge them a much smaller fee per month and retain that customer. So it's a win-win for the company and the customer or client. You get your new modern website. So it's a modern website that's up to date and that will be kept up to date for design standards, for your plugins, your content management system, whatever being used. There's usually a low monthly cost or setup fee. So it's just like it's a fraction. So instead of coming off with $5,000 for your new website, you come up with like $500 as a setup fee. There's no commitment. A lot of services, even the Office 365, I don't think that they make you agree to like a 1-year term or whatever. It's month to month. And that's most website as a service, as well as e-commerce as a service offerings will be along the same lines. So, and it's always up to date. So there's no depreciation. It's always worked on and kept up to date and kept up to standards. Hosting is included, so you don't have to pay that extra $100 to $200 a month for the hosting. There is no extra work involved for you, especially like, just hunting around, like when your website comes due to be made, it's like it's to the point where it is you have to get a new website. Hunting around for like, who built our website before? Were they good? Like, oh no, I didn't like those guys, like, or let's see if we can find somebody who does a little bit better of a job. I had my nephew do it last time. Or going through that process is a pain. And then knowing, like, you go to somebody and we have a local company around us that does websites for $900. It's a $900 website, and their hosting is $25 a month, and you can add e-commerce for another $50 a month, I think. It's laughable how bad these websites are. Like, you have a brand new website and it is just not modern. It is not good. And then the e-commerce on top of it. So I clicked around. I was like, wow, like this is really cheap. Like, how do they even do this? And I went to go see what the flow was and the process was. I tried two separate ones before I was like, okay, whatever. Neither one worked. I was trying to add things to the cart and it wasn't adding anything to the cart. And it's like, and it brings you to a separate website. So it wasn't even on the website. It was just some third party offering. So not only do you have to, will the company help you get all of the products and everything loaded onto the website, they'll do it for you. You don't have to worry about ever hiring another, unless if like you decide to part ways with them, you don't have to worry about just hiring another web development company, looking for that other company or person, or trying to get, a better deal from your current developer or whatever. So you can also, like I mentioned before, you don't have to leave Grubhub or Seamless. Like, you can still benefit from the customers that third party is sending to you. So if someone's on Grubhub already and they find and that's where they just have the app and that's where they look for their food, then you can still get access to that customer. You do not have to not use not one or the other scenario. You can be on Grubhub and Seamless and Eat24 and everything else. And if they're sending you customers, then great. You just don't send them your customers. So some of the drawbacks to e-commerce as a service, or the as a service model for the restaurant online ordering. It's relatively new, like I said, so there are limited integration options. Your system probably isn't going to integrate right off the bat. Might be something that comes down the line. Like I said, it's always something that's being worked on. There's not much pricing information. So what you're given is what it is. And eDine's solution is $379 per month for a single location. That's a new website with online ordering. It's, like I said, it's new. That's why there's limited integrations. That's just the nature of a new type of business. You're not going to find much pricing information. It's going to have limited integration options. And another downside is your website's going to be self-promoted. So there is, with the third-party solution, and the other options were self-promoted as well. But the other options with Grubhub, they do their own marketing and promotion and stuff like that. But as I said, you don't actually have to leave the third-party solution. And then the other drawback is it's always the same price. So that could be a good thing or a bad thing. You know what to expect. If you have a website web developed, like it could your website could go down, and then you have this massive expense trying to bring it back up, or it could get hacked. Actually, it's very highly likely it's going to get hacked if you don't have someone keeping it up to date. So it could be a good thing that it's just always the same price. You don't have to worry about it, but it's not a small expense still. So especially for a lot of smaller restaurants, that is just one of the things. Price is one of the things that you're going to have to take into consideration. So that's it. That's what I have. Those are my thoughts on online ordering for restaurants, the options and everything. The links to the articles that I shared will be in the description or on the post, whatever you're watching this on, as well as the link to the eDine offering. Check it out. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them on the comments on the post or on the video. Thanks for watching.